Hello, everybody in YouTube land, and happy Thanksgiving. I wanted to make an update. Um, so, I have a channel that I started doing like comic book review type things and talking about stuff I was reading. But on there as well, I started making certain videos, kind of letting people know what was really going on in my life behind the scenes. I even had a GoFundMe video. Um, So basically, I guess to make it short and skinny, of the events up till now was we had a 2 bedroom apartment in Cooper City. Um, it was 2K a month. I started falling behind because of a few unfortunate events, and also within that was trying to make a career change. Um, so we lost our apartment on October 31st. Um, Handed the key back, and after that, you know, I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. I had a couple short term solutions, but nothing that was concrete or permanent for sure. Um, I have 2 sons, both with profound autism, pretty severe. Uh, I've heard them considered communicative before, but they do communicate, and I mean, for me, I understand them for the most part pretty well, especially if it's something that they need. Um, After we lost it, we ended up staying with a neighbor for a short time, and the neighbor pretty much told us we had as long as we liked, but there was like certain things. So the neighbor, it was the same landlord who was not the most fair or nice individual. Before I even lost the apartment, I had come up with solutions to the landlord, and some of them he even agreed to. But then within a day to two of going towards those solutions and making them happen, he changed the rules of it. It was like, oh no, we're just not going to do that now. Like, okay, well, it's his apartment, so I guess he can do that, but that's screwed up. It is. It's like people don't stand by their word, you know, and people don't have compassion, and they don't really care that you're trying to keep a family together or a roof over your head. I don't know what happened to the world since I was a kid, but it seems to have just gotten darker and darker. Chris, calm body, volume down. That's my son watching YoGab on one of his tablets. Um, so we ended up staying with that neighbor, and while we were there, so some of the stipulations, I couldn't be there during the day, which I made work 100%. So I would show up every day between like 5. They told me I could go there as early as 5, but I tried to push it every day till like 5:30 because I didn't want to come back too early and start any issues for him with the landlord. Um, and then there was some issues. Everybody had 2 parking spaces, and they kept parking in the spaces, even though they told me, they were like, "Oh, just park in this one spot, and the landlord won't really notice your car." But they kept parking in the spaces, so I ended up asking a neighbor that wasn't connected to the apartments if I could just park there at nights, and they were like, "Oh yeah, at nights." Like that was their rule. They were like, as long as it's only at night and you're out early in the morning, and that was exactly what I needed. So it worked out. God was looking out. And so was that neighbor, and I believe her name was, which I still have to go back and kind of give her a little thank you card or something. But so that ended up lasting for about just under 2 weeks. And suddenly they had like a business in Pompano that they're always driving to from there, and they said that they were moving closer to there. But honestly, it was so abrupt and sudden. It seemed like maybe it was something else, like maybe the landlord knew I was there and was pushing them, or And maybe they didn't want to deal with my kids, because that seems to be a theme too. Uh, like, while I've been the parent of these two boys, it's affected, and I'm not saying this in a bad way on the boys at all. Like, it's affected certain relationships, friendships, babysitting. you know, let's put it this way. One time I needed a babysitter for like 3 hours, and I paid an organization that did babysitting specialized, and it was a little more expensive for me because the kids do have special needs. But, most of the time they won't even need that help, especially in such a short time, because, like, they just got to make sure the kids don't leave the house. The kids ask for a snack, give them a snack. But if the kids go number two, they need some help with the wiping, because otherwise my kids will try to do it themselves and look like chocolate monsters at the end, and not in a cute way, in a stinky way. So, but just for like 3 hours from one of those was like 180 some dollars, not including tip. So that was expensive. So why the landlord really had to switch so abruptly, I'm not sure. Maybe it really was legit and they had to move. I have no idea. I really don't. But that only lasted for about 2 weeks. By this time, I had already wrote a judge who referred me to some people at ChildNet and a few other programs to try to get me some help. Homeless prevention couldn't help because of the amount of money I made. Certain programs turned me away because sex, religion, or the fact that I was employed still. So there's like these certain stipulations that just make it so the program cannot help you, which it doesn't really make sense. If you're there to help families, you should just be helping the families. I ended up writing the judge back because when it came down to it, I was like, okay, there's nothing else to do, and I haven't had enough time to build up enough money to do something. When I did the GoFundMe, it was here. Let me go ask him to do Calm Body and turn down the volume real quick. 1 second. I don't really remember where I was, but so I ended up writing the judge again, like, look, the programs you sent me to, they all turned me away. They couldn't help. And this is still an issue, and I haven't had enough time to fix this, Every time I get somewhere, there's this short amount of time, and I'm still having to put out money. So for either bills for a phone or car insurance, and then my poor baby of a car, Hyundai Accent 2013, which I've had for forever. It's all paid off. And, it usually just needs regular maintenance work. And usually I'm pretty good with the upkeep of it. But money has been tight, so I've only been fixing things as they needed fixing. In the middle of doing this all, I needed to end up putting out just under $200 for a car battery. I haven't bought a battery in a while, but I don't know when they jumped from like $88, $89 to almost $200. I mean, what is happening with the world? I don't know. But it's not good. People are treating everything as a business, and then that's their excuse. Well, it's a business. What? That's why this world is like it is. Because everybody is treating everything like a business. Not as that we're humans and that we're literally supposed to be supporting each other in a community way. And communities even are ridiculous, because when it comes down to it, I can't tell you how many people I know, and they're all friendly to each other's faces, and they absolutely hate each other. And they talk bad about each other behind their back. And if you don't adhere to that and talk bad behind people's backs and do the whole negative and toxic thing, then you're the odd one out. Then they look at you as the weird one because you don't agree with their little bullshit. Anyway, so I ended up having to drop like $200 on the battery. I was getting close to an oil change. I literally barely got past the point of oil change. Oh, you know what? Let me rewind. So then after I said that the programs wouldn't help, one of the programs, ChildNet, that wouldn't help me, which I found out recently, actually is supposed to help with rental assistance. And that's what I needed when I still had my apartment, and they did not help. That woman's name was Tabeel, and there was another one involved, and they literally told me, I don't know what to tell you. Although they were supposed to help with those kind of issues, which no matter how this turns out after the fact, I'm going to go back and address 100%, because this is ridiculous that it went this far, and I've been very vocal and upfront about everything. So now somebody stepped up. I guess they're higher up at ChildNet, Cheryl Williams. They seemed like they wanted to get involved, but they didn't get involved until, I guess, either the judge complained to them or that they were exposed for not helping in the first place. Either way, they started trying to want to help, gave some donations of food, but by this point, there was one advocacy program that the judge recommended that I called. And literally, like, it was the director of the thing in her personal cell phone. And I called her, and she's like, wait, how did you even get this number? And I was like, oh, well, I wrote the judge, you know. And I'm not in a court system. I'm not in a court date. I don't have a dependency issue or anything like that. This is just the judge that granted me the full custody when the mother had a dependency issue and wouldn't get clean. So I didn't know who else to reach out to, you know. And usually people in that issue, like dependency and addiction and all these other things, they don't really have a leg to stand on in doing what like I was doing, because they're addicts. So they kind of get lost in that because they have it leveraged against them through programs like this. Yeah, that's sad to say, but that's what it is. And you know, like in our case, the parent really didn't care, especially probably because they have, you know, because I have a daughter too, but with my sons, they both have disabilities, so they can't really be manipulated. You know, their innocence is like eternal, because you know they're just about stimulation and about what makes them happy. You know, they're not about the drama or the lies. That I don't even think they understand what a lie is. You know. So the advocacy program that got hooked up, that I called the director of, she's like, well, I'm going to send someone to you and they'll help. That woman's name is Ariel. This program, I'm not even sure of the name of the advocacy program, to be honest, but this program is the one program that stood on business and actually helped. But you know, they're limited too because they have red tape. They had a certain amount of budget. We've been in this hotel for, it'll be 2 weeks and like 2 days, and they only had a budget for like 2 weeks worth of paying for this. We tried to find an apartment or something else, or a place rented by the week or something like that, but as we were looking, certain deals with even hotels were getting slimmer and slimmer because they change their rates all the time because it's a business, and you know, they keep charging more and less and switching their stuff, especially getting closer to the holidays. Today's Thanksgiving. And so we got in this place, and while we've been in this place, I have been busting my ass to get things done. And when I rewrote the judge, I was like, look, I'm going to either have to get these kids into a foster family that can handle special needs kids, because I'm not putting them into the group home like ChildNet suggested. And because I know what happens in those places, and with kids that can't communicate what actually would be happening to them or how they would be treated, because they wouldn't be like specialized, taken care of. They would be thrown in with the rest, 100%. And those poor kids don't deserve that are already there either, you know. I know what happens in those things, and ChildNet is known for taking people's kids. I knew someone personally named Kayla, who she had an addiction issue. She used to be like a friend of the family back before all this stuff, and she had a daughter, and they were supposed to temporarily take the kid and then she was supposed to fix her life and get the kid back. She did. She was one of the rare few that actually beat the addiction, straightened out her stuff, and got her kid back. But before she did, before they even told her that they were going to do it, they adopted her to a foster family. That's the kind of things ChildNet does. That is one reason I'm weary of them. Now, the one that's supposed to be put towards me now is Cheryl Williams, and she'll smile in your face and everything like that, and then you go to hang up with her, and you're like, oh my God, thank you so much for the offers for donations or this and that. Yeah, bye, and they hang up, or they'll just hang up before you even get to say that, because they don't care, and they actually are like mad at me. Now, I can say they're mad because not only did I expose but reach out to the judge and said they didn't do anything, but also when one of these donations that I went to go pick up, well, actually 2 donations that they gave me of food. The second one was all expired, except for a few short items, which I actually documented on a video. But and the other one that I went to go pick up, so this woman, from when that dependency case first started with the mom, or maybe even before that, she comes out, she's like, oh yeah, do you hear from Heather? I was like, no, not really. She doesn't call the kids on video chat really anymore or anything. And ever since I applied for child support, it's even less. So she's just ducking and running, you know. And I tried to explain things to her. She's like, yeah, she called me one day at 2 a.m. and had me pick her up on the side of the highway because she needed something she had an issue with a boyfriend or... What? You work for a program that's supposed to protect kids? You knew this kind of shit was going on and you didn't do anything about it? Are they still friends? Is that why this program has such animosity towards me? Because when that all happened, she's like the definition textbook narcissist. So when this all happened, you know, after a while she couldn't contain it because her addiction overrode her, like the pharmaceuticals. She started like nodding off in front of them, and she couldn't keep her lies straight. But if they saw all these issues and saw how she went about them after the long run, and how I've upheld this family and took this impossible task on by myself and did everything I could, still animosity towards me? For what? Because you believed an idiot? What? It doesn't make any sense to me. And you know, in a way, it's neither here nor there. But these are things that I'm weary of. Like, is there still a connection there with that? Are they only helping to back me into a corner? Because that's what it seems like. Because they put someone on that was like these memorial things, and these people seem way more concerned with sending me on wild goose chases that aren't helping, and just asking about my personal business. And every time they hear that I'm actually doing good, I hear less and less from ChildNet. But I gotta tell you, putting these kids into a group home, they were on top of that. Like, oh yeah, we can do this. Yeah, because they'll get funding from the state for each kid. Shitloads of money. Anyway, that's corrupt. That's screwed up. That's like child kidnapping mafia. What is that? These are people that are supposed to help families and help kids, treating it like a business. That's not a business, man. This is family. This is the nation's future, but not to them. It's a paycheck. Especially because the kids have special needs. Then they'll get even more funding because they have to attend to their special needs. But that's another thing. You know, autism makes billions of dollars a year for autism awareness and research and doing this and doing that. But I think that's also another reason why the president stepped in, because a lot of money's being made off this, and not a lot of progress is being made for these kids, which is what it's supposed to be for. Now, I can't say that it was a Biden thing or anything like that, And this is all way before the freeze that happened more recently, so that can't be blamed either. Just like with the child support, a lot of these judges and things are going to jail because they're being found out to be treating this stuff as their personal piggy banks. What is that? You're making money off of families being broken apart? It's a business. Get out of here with that. That's ridiculous. Those people should be really held accountable. And that's another thing I've been saying to the people that ChildNet's been sending to kind of watch me. I'm going to make sure that the people that made more issue of this and didn't help it the way they were supposed to are held accountable. Whether I end up having to do that temporary custody with the foster family or not. It's happening. Because I cannot let this happen to other families. I think it's my mission to make sure that this is put out so people hear this. So if you hear this, please share it. Because this kind of stuff shouldn't be happening, especially towards kids. You know, it's people pervert things just for their own personal use. And it's time to change that. And it's time people, you know, let me get back. I'm getting off. Let me go back to where I was saying. So the advocacy program that stood on business. They got us a place in here for 2 weeks. While here, they also got me a job interview for a second source of income, because Uber I can only do while the kids are in school, which is an issue. That means I'm only able to make money. And if you got kids in the school system, you know, they got more days off than ever. They got more half days than ever. And they're saying that they like extend the years and it's better for the kids, but where is it? Because I just see more issues, more days off, more time. You know, what is that? So with the second source of income, I went and I did the interview, nailed it. The manager liked me, I liked her, it worked out well. It's a manager position for CVS. And while that isn't a dream of mine in any way, shape, or form, it's still a second source of income. And it's getting my foot in the door so I can build up to something better, because I have a great work ethic. Anybody that's seeing this that might have worked with me at Vans, they'll know. I was employee of the month, like every month. And not from ass kissing. From good work ethic. Straight up. In fact, there was a district manager named Tati. She was pretty awesome, because some of the other managers, like when you have really good work ethic and you're authentically you can make a lot of enemies real easily in a lot of places in life. And I did, and I seem to, because people just look at it like, oh, it's unfair, or whatever they look at. Who cares? It doesn't matter, but it happens. I had managers that had issues with me and assistant ones, but Tati wouldn't let that fly. In fact, before COVID hit, she had came and brought me to the side to talk to me, because Vans, like a lot of retail places, they teach you to sell things in a certain way that they think works, you know, that they deem is the way in upselling and so on and so forth. When I worked at Vans, I didn't do that. I was also a skateboard teacher at the time. I taught skateboarding for $25 an hour, eventually independently. But I also worked for 2 companies. But she pulled me to the side and told me she wanted me to go around with her and some other Vans team members, so I could teach them how to sell like I was selling. But I wasn't selling like, and I tell people this all the time, I'm not a shark. Don't get me wrong, with my authenticity and my truth, I'm a beast. I really am. But I am not a shark, because I am not going to upsell or sell somebody something they don't need. If somebody wants something, like they came to Vans and they'd be like, oh, I really like these shoes, but I really need it for this reason. I'd be like, oh, well, if you need it for this reason, like let's say a cashier, and she sees the hype of Vans and likes the look of them, I'm like, well, you should get the Comfy Cush, or you should get the Pro models, which cost like slightly more. That could be wrong. I think Comfy Cush might have ended up costing more at some point, but I haven't been there in a while. boys, calm body. And but I would sell them something that would leave them without hurt feet, and make sure that they bought a slightly bigger size than what they were trying to, because even though Vans run a little big, they're kind of thin, so they can rub on the sides of your feet. Like one of the assistant managers, she's like, "Oh, I've been wearing Vans for forever," and she had like horns and stuff, but she wore very small ones. But I know women kind of get overthinking about it sometimes, and they don't want to really wear shoes that look big because they'll think it looks more masculine or whatever it looks. But you really shouldn't worry about that. It should be just more about comfort and durability and making it work better for you. You know, what's best for you, not just the look. Although I understand the look, but it's not always how something looks or the brands, it's how you wear it. Because most of the stuff I wear is either super old, I even have some stuff from high school still, or it's I just wear it. You know, I don't let the clothes wear me. But the way I sold was so good that she wanted to change the game, but COVID ended up hitting and changed that all around. So that didn't end up happening, which probably would have been a big step forward in my own life. But you don't always have to conform, you know, which I've always had an issue with. Like, I've always had an issue with authority and the unfairness of a lot of it. And I've never adhered to that. I've kind of always done things my own way, unless there wasn't any other way to do it, but then I still ended up making it my own way. So back to the advocacy program, they got us this place, and while they did, not only did I nail that interview, but I also ended up hearing about home health aides, which I've never heard of before, even though I've been asking for help for this for probably over a year now. You know, asking for some support for taking care of, because I used to work from home, so I was making like 3 to 5K a month, but that was very unsteady because the manager or the person that you were an independent contractor, but the person you got the work from, they're very unfair. They try not to act like that, but they are 100%. And they take favoritism, and if let's say there's a bad day on the accounts, just because it's a holiday or it was a slow day, they'll hold it against you, like ridiculously. It has nothing to do with the person. It has nothing to do with us. Maybe it has to do with the person, because we were working like celebrity type accounts. Maybe it has to do with them not promoting their accounts correctly or giving us the content we needed to produce and manage their program pages the correct way. That's more what it comes down to. It doesn't have to do with us. We were doing what we were supposed to. Well, I can't speak for everyone at that company. Some of those people were really screwed up, and they didn't even get fired for it. Like, super inappropriate things. Anyway. And you also had to watch your paychecks, because they wouldn't be consistent with the pay. You'd have to check. And, you know, the way it was managed so loosely, and people were treated like, it was one of those companies where someone was always at the bad end of a stick. And eventually it was everybody's turn at some point. And it would just revolve like that. So the advocacy program, I keep getting off subject. I can do that though. I probably have a touch of autism myself. But so they also did the home health aid, and I ended up getting referrals, and I had to argue with getting those referrals. I ended up even signing and making a grievance against one of the doctors that gave her word that it was referrals for both boys, then didn't. Then suddenly the kids had referrals that were listed under cardiology, but it was supposed to be for the home health aides. Like, I don't know if the doctor was messing with me or they just have idiots working there. I have no idea. Either way, I kept fighting to get those referrals pushed through. Now I'm going to be having, today is, I think, Thursday, supposed to be having a nurse either come Friday or Monday to come assess and do the intake, so that these kids can have trained professionals so I can get back to working, which is a solution. This one advocacy program, I think I'm sorry if I say this wrong if she sees this. The director, I think her name was Irie. I could be wrong about that. Ilie or Irie? I think it was Irie. And the woman Ariel she sent. I I have a weird sense of humor, so I don't know if I ever made Ariel upset with any of the funny kind of things that I've said before. But if I had, I apologize again. And but God sent. That woman stands on business. And when I was fighting to get those referrals pushed through, I remember I was letting her know, like, oh, these people are doing this, they're doing this, but I'm staying on top. She's like, just get it. And I was like, you know what? She's right. I'm just gonna push through. And so they only pushed one through for one of my kids, even though with those fake cardiology things, and they pushed a regular one through for my youngest son. So I ended up just making another appointment for my older son, and just getting it redone because that doctor was already full of crap. That got pushed through. And after all that fighting, I was like, oh, I texted Ariel. I was like, hey, I did it. Yeah, you know, I got it done. They're being sent, and it's going to be done by tonight. And we can fax it over for the morning, and blah blah blah. And she's like, just so you know, I ended up calling them, and I did it. And I was like, wait, so I didn't do it. Like, but eventually I was like, well, you're welcome for the assist, or thank you for the assist. I'm not really sure, but I can tend to rub people the wrong way because as I'm fighting for the kids, I'm pretty stern and to the point. Because I tell you what, I'm a very kind guy, but if it's one thing you don't want to get in between, it's me and my kids. I've got a bestial side that has always helped me through the hard times in life, you know, and that's the side that you're going to end up meeting if you get between me and my kids. It's not a good side. And I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about strategicness and knowing what I'm doing. Don't hold something against me. I can't tell you how many of these people were rude on the phone, and I had to straighten them out real quick by letting them know I was recording the call. That actually happened with SSI too. I was supposed to have SSI back on October 31st on a meeting. Originally it was for November 3rd. And then I kept begging, calling every day, like, hey, I need a sooner thing. I'm on a time crunch here, you know? And it ended up getting pushed to October 31st from November 3rd. Like, woohoo, you know? Big deal. But I took it, you know? So then they missed October 31st, never called. They even had the record that the appointment was there and just no one called. And between October 31st and November 3rd, the freeze popped up at some point in there. I don't remember what day. But then they didn't call. I was like, you know what? Maybe they're just going to call on November 3rd then, which is my youngest son's birthday. Christmas isn't yet, buddy. It's not till 25th of next month.
Yeah,
it's literally like a month away.
Yeah.
Here, let me finish my video, and then we'll do a snack, okay?
Yes.
And we'll do chocolate milk.
Yes. We do my dinosaurs.
I'll get you some dinosaurs for Christmas. I promise you that. Or that purple alien that you saw at the store that you wanted. Okay?
Yeah, there's a purple alien. It's a giant.
Yeah, I know. It was a queen alien. Here, go sit, and let me finish this, and then we're gonna hang out.
A giant queen alien.
But so what was I saying? Oh, okay. So SSI and got that appointment pushed, and so November 3rd comes and goes. They never call. So I call back, and I'm like, "What happened?" And they're like, "Oh, well, first off, the lady was super mean, and I ended up having to pull that. Well, just so you know, miss, I'm recording this call, so everything rude you're saying is going to be shown to a manager." Oh, no. And then she got real helpful after that. Parents should not have to threaten to make sure that their kids are being looked out for by these things that are supposed to be looking out for their kids. Ridiculous. And if you see this, do better for yourself. That's screwed up, man. If somebody did that to your kid, how would you feel? How would you feel about the person that was doing it? Anyway. So SSI ended up, I got an appointment for January 20 something now. Thanks. Thanks. I might be even more homeless than I am right now by then. Anyway, advocacy program. They also put up money that got us this place for 2 weeks. They put down like 1,300 something, and I think I had to put in $361 plus the deposit, which was $100, so like $461 that I didn't really have. That was supposed to be bill money, just for phone, food, car insurance, gas, normal things. So there is just so much ridiculousness that has happened within this time, so much, and Ariel's still there, and so today's Thanksgiving. Yesterday, I ended up finding somebody that could do some babysitting for a few hours, and I was like, all right, I got enough money that I can probably do an extension for a week here at the hotel, which is $585, but that's going to eat up everything I got right now because I've been missing a lot of work because of days off of school. Oh yeah, and the school calendar, oh Jesus. They missed Friday of last week of school because I could have sworn that purple block for interim reports was green, and it was a day off. And I ended up missing that day of work, which was more money in my pocket, which sucks, but it wouldn't have made that much of a difference, but it would have helped, 100%. So, let me get back to it. So I got the babysitter, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna bust some. She was able to be here for like 5-6 hours, something like that, and just hang out with the kids in the hotel while I worked. Even though I was calling like every 15 minutes, like everything is okay, everything's all right, the kids are okay, they didn't get out of the room, because they do things called eloping, which I hate that word. I really do. It shouldn't be used. They just run because they don't know better. Sometimes Chris will just get excited from a YouTube video he watched and want to try to run out towards the street. You just got to watch them. It's really hard to take them to parks. But so the babysitter's like, yeah, I got you. I go out and I start Ubering, making some cash. I ended up only making like, I think $20, $21, because in the middle of this, I had the AC on, and I was in the middle. I had 3 Uber pickups that I already did, sitting in the car seat next to me. 2 next to me and 1 I put in the back seat. All of a sudden, the AC starts feeling hot. I was like, what's going on? Is the sensor messed up? Because once in a while, my sensor gets messed up, and I literally hit the side of where the AC thing is, and like the light will turn back on, but the light was on. I was like, what's going on? So then it got a little hotter, and it smelled funny. And I was like, uh-oh. And I looked at the dash. Car's overheating. I'm barely past where I was supposed to be for an oil change, so it shouldn't have made that big of a difference, End up, somehow there was like practically no oil in the car, which I'm not even sure how that's possible, but that's the case. I ended up pulling over, got some quarts of oil, dropped the oil in the car. Even before that, the car, when it first started overheating, this happened a long time ago where like I was low on coolant, and so the car was heating up. I had just done one of my Uber drop-offs, literally pulled up, done the Uber drop-off, fancy hotel. They had like bottles of water in the lobby, but that was the closest thing I had. There was nothing else around, no gas station, just hotels, because this is like downtown Fort Lauderdale, somewhat near the courthouse. So I was like, okay, I'll just grab a bottle of water, and even though you're not really supposed to put the cold water in there, that's all I got right now. That's it. That's all I have. So, and I got to finish these orders. So I get the cold bottle of water, pour it in real quick, start going again. It starts overheating right away. Wasn't even enough. And I kind of noticed that my car was leaking a lot, but I was like, oh, it must be condensation from the AC. Nope. Some kind of issue for the radiator or the lower hose, and it's leaking. Straight up. And missing oil. But I fixed the oil thing by grabbing some quarts of oil, dropped it in the car. I didn't get a straight up oil change, but at least that's going to help it for a temporary time until I can afford an oil change, because I cannot drop more money right now, like $80 on an oil change, or 70, whatever it is, and then also do some work for the radiator, which is going to be at least a couple of $100. At least. my money is like specific towards things right now. And if it's not going towards those, we won't have a place to stay and all of this falls apart. I gotta make sure it's towed, and I gotta make not like the car, but towing the line. I gotta make sure that it's pulled in the correct way. Otherwise, this whole thing falls apart. So I ended up finishing off the orders, even though the car kept trying to overheat. I get back. That's when I really figured out, like, the car's just leaking. I bought some more coolant, and I was like, well, that'll at least get me some time until I can get it to somewhere and get a quote or something like that. Pour like a half a bottle of coolant in, and it's not really filling up. Then I look under the car, just coming out. Just coming out. So, all that, and I ended up having to spend more money on the coolant and the oil than what I made in that Uber trip. So, and I get back, and you know, the babysitter's here with the kids. And I even went and took it to try to get a quote. And I don't know if those mechanics were being that honest with me, but they ended up. I told them I was strapped to cash, and I could hear them whispering in the back room, like, "Oh, he's got a sob story, blah 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 blah." It's not a sob story. It's what's actually happening. Maybe it sounds like a sob story. I was being upfront with you and letting you know, look, I can only afford something small. Babysitter offered to pay $80 so I could get a pressure test, but they're like, just so you know, if we do the pressure test, it's going to make the leak worse. Which is the issue where now if I can't afford what's coming after, that's why they ended up giving me a quote, and their quote was like $11.80 something, or something like that. Get out of here with that. I just told you that even borrowing this $80 was an issue. Like, that's already like putting me more in debt. $11.80 something. Oh yeah, but we can stay tonight and get it fit. Get out of here. What did I just tell you? It's a business. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. If that's how people become rich, by treating others like shit, I don't want to be rich. Not at all. I just want enough money to do what I need. That's it. I don't need the richness. Although, money is nice. Like when my father passed, even though everything got left to my sister through some what looked like bogus paperwork to me. Either way, regardless of that, he left me a life insurance check. That was how I was able to even get that apartment for me and the boys. And I maintained that for a good amount of time. And I started working good, and I was making that 3 to 5K again, which had stopped for a while and then started again. But that lady still had some animosity with me. Still had issues. When she got called by my landlords to give reference, and she played off like, oh yeah, no, it's all great and this and that, and but as soon as she found out I acquired that apartment, my money started slowly being cut, because she didn't want me to have all that. She was friends with my ex. Yeah. So that slowly started going. Eventually one page was gone. Then I was making just under $2,000. So I was now surviving on what I had left from that check in savings. And which in savings I think I only had $5,000 to $6,000, something like that. And between that and everything, I held that up for a long time. And that was back when I first asked ChildNet for help, when I still had money, still had savings. And I was asking for help. Like, look, this is going to go bad if I don't get some help or some extra cheap childcare so I can get back to working and making more money again. So my stuff started getting cut. And then eventually got cut off. And then she wanted, so the last time that had happened, she left me with an account that if you were to work it every day, most of the day, you'd only get $500 at the end of the month. Because we only got paid once a month there. That's why I always say 3 to 5K a month. Because it was only a one-time payment for all your work. Yeah. So I'm not gonna bust my ass and make things worse for that. I wanted to go towards BSO, but stopping to go do all the documentation and everything because I didn't have a computer, so I had to run to libraries or do things. And the transcripts that I ordered were taking for forever, and I'm not even sure they showed that I went to night school there, even though I did night school there. So it started looking grim, so I was like, I got to do something else. So I just started Ubering like crazy. But with already having to pay what I was paying, and I even had to borrow some money, and having a $2,000 apartment and only making so much from Uber while the kids were at school, it wasn't working. It just wasn't. But we ended up getting here. So I'm supposed to have this place, checkout's 29th. Today's what, 27th? And that's in the morning. We've been living good here, by all means, because we did have some donations, not only from the school, but that first donation from ChildNet. Plus, I had already stocked up on food, dollar store stuff or sales at Walmart, things like that. And we're eating good though. I got my sandwich maker so we can have grilled cheese sandwiches. I pick up cheap bread, $1.47 from Walmart, because you can get that sliced Italian loaf of bread, unless I can't get to there. But now you got to look at it like this. Now I got a car. It's leaking like a sieve. That needs money put into it, but I can't. I got this, which an extension for a week is $5.85. Right now, all the money I have, I think I have $600 in total. I have a Metro bill. And good thing, I almost cut off the Wi-Fi box, but I didn't. The Wi-Fi here was super spotty. Without having the devices and the TV for the kids, I wouldn't be able to keep them in line while I do stuff around the hotel and make the food and do other things. I wouldn't be able to. And also, I tried to, so I have technically 4 devices. I have a tablet, a phone. The tablet Chris uses, that's not hooked up. It just runs off the Wi-Fi. I have the Wi-Fi box, a phone, 2 phones, and a tablet. And I tried to go down to 1 phone. They were going to charge me to switch my number to the better phone and go down to 1 phone. And also, my bill would end up becoming more, because when I signed that up, it was for a deal on some kind of contract. And so, like, cutting it down wouldn't actually reduce. Only by maybe, like, $4. So keeping the $4, I was actually even able to keep the devices and the Wi-Fi box. So I just did. And good thing I did, because the Wi-Fi was not only spotty here, but when we got here, the TV was stuck on somebody that put their profile in, and I guess they were Spanish, and the whole TV, anything you wanted to, I pulled up Transylvania for the kids, the Adam Sandler stuff, Spanish. I wasn't dealing with it, so I brought our tiny little TV and look, I'll show it. TV and set it right in front of that one. You can see my library books and my coffee cup, because I got my Keurig here. I brought that, my little kid's cup. I do my dishes over there in that bin. I just take it into the bathroom, do my dishes. I got food in that green box, and I got food all up in there. I've been maintaining, not spending too much extra. Like yesterday, I got the kids pizza because I had a rough day. They actually had a good day. But I got the kids Little Caesars, which is any other. When did a single pizza become $15? Like, when did that happen? Little Caesars, you can get 2 pizzas for that. And if you get the extra most bestest, they're cooked a little better and a little longer, more well done, and they taste better too. Where it feels like the pizza used to be $5. That used to be great. And that wasn't even that long ago. When I was in a financial issue before, and the pizzas were $5, if I was running around too much, doing too much, didn't have time to cook dinner, $5 for pizza a couple nights a week, that's not bad. $15 got us 3 meals. It's a business. Everything wants to be a business. Things like Little Caesars, I commend you, man, because you're more for the people than anyone else is. Places like that. Dollar stores even get crazy now. Like, they had things I used to get there for $1.25, $1.50, and now it's like $3 to $5 for those same things. It's ridiculous. But certain things are awesome there, like $1.25 for a pair of socks for Chris, because he loves those tall socks with like the last pair I got him was Pop Tarts. Like they love Pop Tarts. For breakfast I do that cereal or like toast with jelly, stuff like that. Nothing crazy, but we make it work. I'm not crazy with expending. I'm not an addict. I don't have any deep, dark secrets that need uprooting. Although, depending on who you talk to, you might hear that. Because some people, when they have issue with you, they try to calm, buddy. They try to tarnish your name because they think that if they can tarnish your name first, it won't make them look like the bad guy. But if you're like me and you really don't give a shit what people think, you don't even defend towards that stuff. Because to be honest, if somebody believes that kind of stuff about you, why the fuck do you care? That's just God showing you. Hold on 1 second, let me tell them calm, buddy. When my kids think I'm talking on the phone, they tend to get louder. Because I don't know what it is, if it's an attention thing or just they hear more noise, so they feel like they have to make more noise, but they do that. It's just a thing. It's just kind of always been a thing. Anybody that's talked to me on the phone knows, I was making a point about something. I don't remember what it was. But, I'm going to make another GoFundMe to try to bring in something to just help because I still got bills. I got $600, $585 for an extension here for a week to buy me the time. I'm supposed to have the nurses coming out, which is going to be the fix. And whether I get that CVS, because I was just waiting on the background check to clear, but the email hasn't come to confirm on that yet. So whether that comes or I just go towards this construction company that I've been eyeing, either way, that works out, it's going to work. It's going to be a fix. It's a solution. And I gotta tell you, the closer I get to a solution, the farther back ChildNet is. And not because they're like, oh, he's got it handled, but they're literally trying to back me into a corner. Because they're like, oh, so what is your plan? They really wanted to take these kids into custody so they could stick them somewhere and they could get more funding from the state. Like, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous, man. And I also was very vocal about outing them for it and telling them about everything that they've been doing. So I'm sure they want to shut me up even faster because of which. But be careful when dealing with these kind of people. A lot of these people that smile in your face in a different circumstance will stab you in the back in a second for themselves. Or because they think it's so, like, there was a person I was social with at one of my kids' schools. And that little greaseball, Dr. Robotnik looking dude, spouted my business, thinking it was going to cause some kind of issue, not knowing that I had already talked to DCF and ChildNet, and they already all knew. Yeah. And so when he went running his little mouth, nothing happened, because they already knew. I'm on top of my shit. But it did show me that this person that I considered a friend, that told me even about when he was having issues in his family, that's probably why. And I didn't go running my mouth about his business, but he did about mine. That's just God showing you. Be careful who you let in and who you keep smiling back at, that's smiling at you and trusting. Because some of these people, they don't care. And you know what really came down to? He wasn't going to gain anything from this. Just gossip points. Just something to talk about. So he could feel better about his haircut or whatever the deal was. Who knows? And literally got mad and tried to make a weird little thing after that with me because I stopped saying hi to him. Then came up and was like, I'm not going to do this with you. And I'm on your side about it. No, you're not. That made him even more mad. The next thing I know, the resource officers were walking up to me because there's like an issue. It wasn't an issue. I'm just ignoring this asshole. That's the issue. It's people are screwed up. They're bored. So they do these horrible things. And I hate to say it, but It seems to be way more abundant than people with compassion and people that actually care to help you. It doesn't make sense to me. I came from a pretty bad family. The old scapegoat thing, narcissist dynamic. And I was the black sheep. 100%. 100%. And standing up for yourself in that position, if you've been in that position, you know what's going to happen because of it. Your life's going to get harder because they're all going to turn on you. But you know what? When those kind of things happen, and you keep fighting, and you hold your strength, and you keep your class by not feeding into the BS, you just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So when things like this in life happen, and everyone thinks the cards are stacked against you, but you keep making wins, they don't understand. Like, I'm low on cash, and like I said, I'm going to make another GoFundMe. I'm going to attach this video to it as well. Excuse me. And I'm also going to go tomorrow, because today's Thanksgiving. So I'm not sure the hours of operation at the storage facility. Plus my car's kind of messed up, so I'm going to do it all in one shot. I've got some collectibles. I'm going to take those to Tate's and I'm going to trade them in. And I've got some other things, like an extra TV and a few other things that I could take to a pawn store and get a couple of shekels for, get a couple of coins, and I'm just going to add that, and I'm going to keep doing what I need to do. I'm going to keep paying bills. I'm going to keep people that want to use my personal life against me out of my business for whoever's seeing this. And you know who you are. You are not welcome in my energy, in my area, or in wherever I'm living at this time. At all. And I promise you, when this is all said and done, and I take legal action back against you, you're going to wish that you never did this, so that you could try to put kids into a system to put some more money into your pocket. You're going to regret that. Because I'm tired of it. So when it comes down to it, as a parent, stand on your business. Keep fighting for what's yours. Reach higher than these people that are trying to step on you. Tell the people that control them or the people that they answer to. Because you can't keep letting these people do what they're doing. Because if you do, they're going to do it not only to you, but they're going to do it to another family. And somebody else's kids. And they're going to have to go through that trauma. Nobody deserves that. These people in these positions that are supposed to help families, if they're not there to actually help families, as soon as that's seen, they should be cut right out of it. And there's, from some of them old cases, there's even more I could say about this. I'm going to save that for another video because I feel like I covered a lot in this, and I'm about to hit an hour. But I have a plan. Is it going to work? I don't know.
Daddy,
Probably.
I ate orange.
I know, I can smell the orange. But it was like a 5-pound bag. I think 3-pound bag. He ate most of them. Here, you want to say hi?
Hi.
Yeah, say hi.
Hi.
Say hi, Miki.
Hi, Maggie.
Say hi, YouTube world.
Hi, the world.
Okay. But, yeah, we're going to get things done. And no matter what weight I got to carry to get that done, I'm going to get it done. Have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm sure I'll make another video before the holidays, but happy holidays. Keep your loved ones close. Protect you, protect yours, and watch out for the sharks. But make sure that you're being a shark when dealing with them. And not in a manipulative way, but in the way that you put them out of commission, the same way they tried to do you. Have a great one. Next time. Bye. What? You want to say hi too? You can say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi. You just want to make faces in the camera. Get out of here. All right. Have a great one, guys. Bye.